Hello and welcome to the 13th Dinocast. That's a year we've been doing this. I'm here with Jason.
Hello.
He's not dead. I'm here with Adam.
I am.
Yo!
And we are going to look at the upcoming month's Games with Gold, last month's Games with Gold, anything else we've been playing, stuff we've been watching, listening to, anything else we've been up to, and generally have a bit of a natter. So without any further ado, Jason, what are July's Games with Gold?
July's Games with Gold are Beasts of Maravilla Island, Relicta, Thrillville Off the Rails, and Torchlight. Wow. And saying these, I realise I've not actually worked out how to pronounce some of them before I read them. Anyway, that is it. Is it Relicta? Who knows? We'll come back to that. What are our first impressions? Beasts of Maravilla Island. I quite like this look at this one. It's a third-person exploration puzzle game, and it involves taking photos of wildlife. And that sounds like something I could enjoy, because it's relaxing and peaceful, unless you get jumped by a crazy wildebeest or something. And I could see me strolling around, spending hours doing that. I haven't played it. I've never heard of it before, but I think I'll give this one a go.
Have you heard of Pokemon Snap?
I've heard of Pokemon and I've heard of Snap, two separate games. I have not heard of Pokemon.
That was the first thing I thought of when I looked at this, but I think it's actually a very, very different game. This looks pretty cool, actually. It's very new as well. It's obviously a smaller budget, smaller studio game, but I think this could really be something I spend quite a lot of time with, or nothing at all. And I don't think there's going to be anything in between. But I'm I really like the look of it. I'm actually quite excited to get my hands on this one. What do you say, Adam?
Yeah, this looks really, really interesting. It says in the trailer, or the small bit of trailer that I saw, it says that there's puzzle elements, and you got to look in your grandfather's notebook to work them out. So I'm interested to find out how in-depth they've gone with the puzzles, and how much of it is just like snapping photos and stuff. But yeah, this looks really, really cool. Definitely like the art style, definitely. But this one was first released on 12th of June 2021. So yeah, Sean's right, it was quite recent. The devs are Banana Bird Studios, published by Whitethorn Games.
And moving on to another puzzle type game is, I'm going to call it Relicta, as in relic. I don't know. It's a first-person physics-based puzzle game set on a moon base somewhere. I'm not really into first-person games, but I did like... oh my god, I've blanked on the game. Other puzzle games at first person, and I think I might enjoy this. Up to choose, Sean's saying I will either not really play this all the time, or never play it at all, or somewhere in between. I don't know. I'll give it a go and see what it's like, but I think this could be fun. I'm hoping it's fun.
Well,
sure.
I've nearly bought this several times, so I'm very happy that this is free. Yeah,
I've
seen it on sale a bunch of times, and I mean, look at it. It just screams me, right? It's first person. It's vaguely sci-fi. You're trapped on your own with the vague thing that something's gone horribly, horribly wrong, and you're trying to keep someone else alive. I mean, this is so my cup of tea. It's not even funny. I'm not sure if it was a Games with Gold or if I played it on Game Pass. I own it on Steam as well. But stuff like the Talos Principle immediately springs to mind. Observation a little bit. Obviously, this is going to be a story based as that. It's going to be more puzzle heavy. But yeah, this is well up my alley. Vaguely sci-fi, overbearing theme of dread, puzzles. I am absolutely in for it, and I'm going to get absorbed. And I'm almost, unless they do something horribly wrong, I'm certainly going to complete this one. I'm very excited for it.
Yeah, I'm quite excited too, actually. I think this is going to be... It's either going to swing one way or the other for me, depending on the one element of the game where it says that you can control gravity and magnetism. And in some games where they have a core mechanic like that, where sometimes they've made the controls really, really hard to manipulate that mechanic, whereas other games I've played of this type, and they have a core mechanic, that's a type of power. It's quite easy to control and quite easy to use whenever you want. So I think for me, it's largely going to depend on how easy that is to control and how easy it is to get used to. But in terms of the actual game, it actually looks fantastic. So yeah,
well, I've seen
really...
I've seen a lot of games using this mechanic now, so hopefully they've learned from them, because it is, as you say, it's a mechanic that's used a lot, sometimes better than others, but all they need to do is be on the level of kind of similar things, and they should do all right.
Yeah,
fingers crossed.
Exactly. Yeah, fingers crossed. Yeah, because it does look fantastic. This was first released on 4th of August 2020. So this one's quite recent as well. Devs are Mighty Polygon and published by Ravenscourt.
And the first game from the 360 offerings is Thrillville Off the Rails, which we've had a lot of simulation-based games recently. This is a theme park one with roller coasters and that sort of thing. And I'm sure we'll discuss later. Not really my cup of tea. But looking at the advert and the general how it controls and you can sort of be amongst it, one of the best sim games I played for this sort of thing was the Jurassic Park one, or the one I enjoyed playing most and didn't get immediately turned off by. And this seems probably the most similar to that. So I'm hoping I might enjoy myself, and you can ride the roller coasters and stuff like that, which is, I like to be a bit involved in these sort of games. So I'm hoping it will win me over and give me a sim that I can be proud of and earn money from and go, look at what I've achieved, because that's what I want. But who knows? Could be crap. Shaun.
There is a screenshot on the Xbox store which is like a rabbit post. Frankly, it looks a little racially and culturally insensitive towards Mexicans, but that looks like a side-scrolling beat-em-up, which I'd be far more happier to play than another goddamn management sim. It's not my cup of tea. Actually, Dan, Ghost Nerd Cubed, Dan, I think his name is. He's a big fan of the Roller Coaster Tycoon games, and this is of that ilk. I don't know if this is one of the ones he likes or not, but I might just see if I can figure that out before I start spending a bit of time on it. I might watch some of his videos if he's got any of them instead of playing it, because it's nothing against the game itself. It's just not a genre I care about. But if it's something quite simple and I can make something incredibly crazy relatively easily, I'll spend an hour with it. That's probably about it.
That's all we can ask. Yeah, tutorial.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I'm really looking forward to this one because back in the day on my Super Nintendo, I used to play Theme Park, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it, and to this day, any roller coaster game that I play or comes out that I see, I always compare it to that, because that for me was just the perfect theme park game. The only thing missing from it was you couldn't really ride the rides that you create and stuff. So yeah, the fact that you can ride these, and I've played other roller coaster games, and I played one where the purpose is to kill anyone who rides your game, anyone who rides your roller coaster. So that one was a lot of fun, a crazy sort of.
That sounds like one I'd play.
Yeah. It's basically make it the most deadliest roller coaster you can, and I think you got points per if it came off and crashed against something else, or however devastating the crash was, you got points for. It was quite fun.
At the end you need to like stack up a bunch of Ferris wheels so they each fall into the next like dominoes. You'll wipe out the whole park.
Yeah, but I can't remember actually the name of that one. But yeah, so I've played a lot of this type, so I'm really hoping this lives up to it. So I'm really excited for this one. But if you're interested, this was first released on 9th of October 2007. The devs are Frontier Developments PLC and DC Studios, published by Activision and LucasArts.
And that brings us to Torchlight, which is a hack and slash isometric dungeon crawling adventure game. Looking at the artwork and some gameplay, I could have played this before, But obviously it's like a fantasy game, and it looks a lot like a lot of other dungeon crawler isometric things, where you go around looting stuff and beating up stuff. So I know it's got many sequels, or a few sequels, so maybe I've played one of those. But I'll definitely give this a go, and I have had hit and miss with this type of game in the past, and might well enjoy it. So I'm generally, on the whole, for this month, looking forward to all of these and giving these a go, because I don't think there's a duff one, apart from the Thrillville, which could be good, but we'll see. But yeah, Torchlight, I think I'll give it enjoy it, and as long as if there's some humour there, it'll be heightened, and if there's a story, even better. So I'm looking forward to this one.
I was a bit on the side that I'm not a big fan of these isometric kind of hack and slash, but they're normally fun for an hour or two. But it does say that it was developed by some of the creators of Diablo, and that's a pretty cool franchise. That's obviously quite big and got an enormous fan base. So maybe this will have a bit more going for it than the average hack and slash, like that. Quite some time ago now, we did I'm sure it was a Warhammer kind of thing, but it was set in the past. It was one of those, and I had a lot of fun with that one. So this might be one of the rare ones that actually can keep me invested rather than just mindlessly throwing wave after wave at me, which is kind of the thing that turns me off. You know, I prefer my combat a little more thoughtful and, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, kind of staged, I guess. Just throwing wave
Strategic?
after wave. Yeah, throwing wave. Yeah, strategic on the programmer's part. So you'll get to a place and then you'll have to worry about how to fight and what to fight in what order and stuff like that. As you more often get in the Darksider style of games, rather than just there's 5 waves of 20 guys and they're just going to try and chip, because it's basically chip damage at that point. It's just trying to wear you down and wear you down and wear you down until the point that you can't get up again. And I know you could say that about any enemy in any game. The point is to chip off and chip off until you finally die. But it just feels a bit more, to me, to my play style and the way I like to play, it feels a bit more monotonous doing it in the structured 5-wave kind of format than in any other. But again, I'll give it a go as we always do, and we'll see what I think once I've actually got my hands on it. Because proof is in the pudding, and the pudding is, I don't know, spotted dick or something. Whatever. That got away from me. Adam, climb me out of this pit, Adam.
I will. So this one I've actually played before.
Ooh.
Yeah, quite a while ago. I
wish I had some kind of dramatic sting of music there. It feels like it needs a dun dun dun.
And I think this is the first Games of Gold that has come up that I've actually played before that I remember.
I think it is.
But John, another Iron Dino, introduced me to this when I was around his house once. So
I think he's tar at this point.
So he introduced me to it, and it was a lot of fun when I played this one. Very good, very easy to control, quite nice to upgrade your character and select your character at the beginning as well. That was quite good. So yeah, this one's actually quite good. So quite nice that it's free, because I never had it on my Xbox. I say it was on John's, so yeah, it's quite cool. But
since you played it,
go on then.
Since you've played, is it random levels or is it sort of like planned out levels?
It's not random levels. Yeah, it does definitely follow a storyline type thing.
Oh, fine, good. I'll probably enjoy that more. Then. Good.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if you were the other way, it actually does say in the bio you can set it to endless dungeon, which will just make randomized levels, and you can just knock yourself out until you've had enough, which is kind of cool.
And there is a Torchlight 2 and a Torchlight 3, so yeah.
First 2 burnt out.
But if you're interested, this was first released on October 27th, 2009 for Windows, but on the Xbox 360 it was March 9th, 2011. The devs are Runic Games, published by... Oh, sorry, Runic Games.
Sorry, a bit of frog.
That's what I thought. What the hell was that?
Runic.
Excuse me. So yeah, Perfect World, Encore Inc., Jowood Entertainment, and also Microsoft Studios.
And those were the games for gold for July 2021. Actually, 22. Bollocks. July 2022. Ta-da!
Oh, I run through this bit, don't I?
Yeah, it's all you now.
Sorry.
I've done my bit. I'm off.
But what about the games from June 2022?
Oh.
Seamless. We had Aven Colony. Adam, do you want to lead off on Aven Colony? Aven Colony, not Avon Colony, not like that.
Aven Colony.
Catalogues with
knock, knock.
smellies or whatever they were.
Right.
I
prefer that. I'd play
Yes,
that
I can.
Aven Colony.
Billy Connolly?
Yes.
Sorry.
Oh, God. This wasn't going to go so well. Right. Yes, Aven Colony is a building sim set in the future on different planets as you go through the story mode. And it's a lot of fun, actually. I'm still playing it now. There's a lot of different buildings, a lot of different mechanics as you go through. You can expand and expand and expand. There's a sandbox mode where you can just build with no actual story mode like missions to do. So you can just it's just got like a chaos sort of generated system where you'll get like lightning storms, meteorites, and all sorts like that to deal with. And then there's obviously the Sims as well, that that some of them will get hungry and want food. How dare they? And then some will want water, and God, water, really? And then there's electricity, and yeah, there's all the sim management that you can want from this. But the thing I like about this particular one is how well they've done everything. It just seems like they've paid close attention to the stuff that is in every single one of these sim builders, but they've just tweaked them and played with them and spent a little bit more time on them, and it just makes everything smooth and really, really nice. And one of the features I like actually is you can zoom into the camera mode, and so each pathway or domed hallway, if you like, that you build has these like security cameras in the corner, and it reminded me, Shaun, actually, of the game that you played, Observation, where you're in that camera, you're looking at the Sims as they go about their daily business, and you can flick to each camera and be really in amongst it. It's really, really good. Really enjoyed this one. Big, huge thumbs up from me.
I'm pleased we have you here, Adam. Because I can see this is probably a very good game, but I could not handle it, in the sense of I have to be very much in the mood to play these types of games. I'm very rarely in the mood to play these types of games. And you say, so yes, this person wants water, this person wants that. And I very rarely want to sit down and meet the demands of people just banging on at me about their needs. And this is the game that I gave the least amount of time to this month. And by that I mean didn't finish the tutorial at all. I was playing it and I just went, I'm not in the mood for this and I can't play anymore. And it's got nothing to do with how well it's made, and I'm sure people who like this type of game will love it, and it's very pretty and things seem to move as they're expected to do, and from what you said, it seems like a good game. But it was, I just had to shut it off because it wasn't something I wanted to deal with on that whatever Sunday morning, whatever I was trying to do. And I did think I'll go back to this, and I never did. So of all the games this month, I don't think I gave this one a fair try. But that's because I will never play it again anyway, even if I did.
Okay, so let me get this straight.
I'm glad you're here.
You took a month off. The one thing you had to do this month was play say half an hour to give a fair go to each of these games, and you couldn't even accomplish that. Am I understanding this right?
Who says I didn't spend an hour just having someone shout at me for water, and I just went, I can't cope, leave me alone, and I took away their air supply. I don't know. That would have been a good game, actually. If I had, I preferred observation. If I could have taken away their air supply, maybe that comes into it later, and, taunted them and played God, maybe I would have enjoyed it. But I think with these types of games, I think you have to grab me quite quickly with either have a tutorial just built into a storyline, which does work for me, because you sort of gradually learn things, and then I feel like, I've learned as I've gone. Or you don't give me a tutorial, but you can sort of find it out as you go, I don't know how to do this, how do I do it quickly, look it up, and it's very simple. And I'm not saying this is in-depth, but in the state of mind I was in at the time, this was too in-depth for me to handle, get my head around. And I hold my hands up and say it's just not for me. So Aven Colony, whatever you're called, Avon. I'm sure it's a great game, but it's not for me.
Jason,
and it's not the only thing I had to do this month. I had other things to do this month.
Jason.
I do more than sit around playing games. Yes.
You've disappointed me. You've disappointed Adam.
Yes.
You've disappointed the actor Kevin Eldon. You've disappointed all the good people at home who come here listening for a fair and even review. And I'm going to continue that trend because I played 10 minutes of this and went, nope. And I fucking turned it off. And I could not be dealing with it because it's one of those fantastic... I'm like, there's another of these fuckers coming down the month. No, not happening. I'm not into it. I don't care. I'm not playing it. No, it's very, very pretty, but I could immediately... There's no point in me playing anymore. I've played these games before. It's not my cup of tea. It looked really pretty. I'm sure it functioned really well. I was more interested in the look of Project Highrise as something very, very different. So I wanted to give more time to that. And what I also wanted to give more time to was Super Meat Boy. Oh, so fucking good. As we mentioned in last month's Dinocast, as we mentioned in the video, I've already beat most of this game, a vast chunk of this game. I went back and I played through quite a lot of it again over the course of this month because, it's Super Meat Boy. I fucking love that game. It was on my Xbox again. I'm like, oh, fantastic. I can go back to this game I've been playing. Oh, Super Meat Boy! So, yeah, I played an absolute ton of that again. It's a wonderful, wonderful game. It is... despite the fact that it's already previously been a game of gold, that doesn't discount it being one of my favourite games of gold for the year, because it's just an absolute masterpiece of 2D platforming, and I love me some 2D platforming. Adam, what did you think of this one?
This was a lot of fun. Echo everything you said. A lot of fun. Funny enough, I hadn't, when we played Raskulls, I hadn't actually picked up Super Meat Boy. So up until that point, Raskulls was kind of my favourite of the month. But then when I turned on Super Meat Boy and had a go on that, that was a lot better, far superior, and it was a lot of fun. Definitely download it. You can't go wrong.
It's my favourite too.
Hey!
Now, I did previously download this whenever it was Games of Gold years ago, and for some reason never played it, despite the fact knowing it was a good game, and you told me about it in the past. So I did already own it, played it, really enjoyed it. This is much more my cup of tea than Aven Colony. I love the sort of games like Limbo and Trials and stuff like that, where you basically try it, fail it, start again immediately. That is much more my speed. No need for a tutorial. You learn as you go, and you improve each time. And this was so easy to get through the levels. Well, sorry, not always, but I mean, you knew exactly what you needed to do most of the time. And again, you fail. I love the fact you watch your failures at the end of the level. The humour was funny. The character design's great. It's obviously there's not much visually to look at as much, but it's all you need for the set to set the scene. Start, end, try it, fail it, try it again. Yeah, you did it. Brilliant. I was trying the time trials, and they had that little thing that tells you if you've beat a certain, time trial, I suppose.
Yep.
I was trying to do that as we went along for the most part to try and beat the set time without moving to the next one. So it gave me a little bit of a challenge more than... Yeah, get the A+ each time. Yeah, I will definitely go back to it. Thoroughly enjoyable. Thumbs up.
Fantastic. And moving on to Project Highrise, which is still available till July 15th, if you haven't grabbed it yet. Yeah, I like this. I like the look of this a lot more than Aven Colony because it looked more unique and less... There's kind of a random element and to the formula of your Aven Colony style things, which Project Highrise doesn't really have. It's very it's incredibly structured what you do and how you need to do it, even though there's plenty of room in there for creativity and to cock up, as you saw in Adam's wonderful play video. But there's an awful lot to do, awful lot. It feels like a much more diverse game, despite being technically, I guess, more limited. That I found brought me back a few times. It's not a game I'm going to spend God knows how many hours in, but by the time Adam and I did that video, I just got through the tutorial, I think. And I've gone back and put a couple of hours in since, and I quite enjoy it. I find it very, very relaxing. But it does fuck with my OCD when I can't put exactly what I want, where I want, when I want to, because something's in the way. It's not unlocked, or I need money to do something. I didn't want an office on this floor, but I guess I've got a canteen. Are these people out of their minds? I want another office. But no, I liked this a lot more. It's still on my Xbox. I may chip away a bit more of it. But yeah, I think it's a very high quality game and a very good twist on a formula I consider somewhat tired.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely echo everything you said. This one pleased me a lot because I had a game similar to this on my mobile phone, and I used to play it non-stop. Any moment I got, I used to play it, and just like build up my office a bit bigger and a bit better and make more money and all that. This just done everything that my mobile phone game done, but better and more in depth. And yeah, it just flowed really nice. And as Shaun said, like you could just spend a couple of hours, even more so, and like totally relaxed, just building it up and having a good time. Yeah, it's really, really good. And the fact that they've got a different side to it as well, where you can actually build a hotel and build like a bit of a theme hotel as well, and sort of dance stages and DJs and like big restaurants and stuff like that, and you can decorate them how you want. And like when you really get into the game, it really opens up. So yeah, it's really, really, really good. Definitely a good building sim and a good thumbs up.
I wonder if come the end of the year, this will be like, yeah, I just kept going back. I'll put like 30 hours into this now. Or if you'll have forgotten it by then. I wonder which way it's going to go with that.
Yeah, exactly.
I look forward to seeing your final result. I can see you doing it. It's like your Minecraft thing, and you'll have this huge tower of your own. Like you are the head of this tower, you live on the top floor and you rule it. I don't know why.
Somehow make the pyramid from Blade Runner, and he just lives up there hoarding his wealth.
So I'm looking forward to that. So on the day that I quit Aven Colony and went, I can't cope with this, I immediately started playing Project Highrise. And a very similar thing happened on that day. In the sense that I just obviously wasn't in the mood for this type of game on the day. Played it for a bit, but I didn't notice the tutorial for some reason, so I started looking at it going, I don't know what to do.
I didn't the first time either.
And I ended up turning it off. And then a few days later, this was the one that called me back. So I then started going through the tutorials, and they all seemed very straightforward and made sense to me, and I liked the 2D visuals, and the colour scheme seems to work for me. I don't know, it all appealed to me much more. Again, it's one of these games I probably won't play a lot of, but I can see its appeal. I definitely gave it a go. I do have a bit of a calling to go back and play a bit more to see what I can make. It does seem to be more like a sandbox game. I know it's not. I know you've got to work within certain rules and get, make profit and stuff if you can. But yeah, it certainly appealed to me more than the other one. It's not my ideal type of game, but I'll definitely give it at least one more go.
And finally, we have Raskulls, a very pleasant little surprise. This is a 2D challenge-based platformer with very short levels, which slowly ramps up the skill as you go along. I've completed the first... I played a bit more of it today, actually. I've completed the first chapter now, so I've unlocked the second character, who's a ninja, who I'm guessing has different challenges, maybe some different skills and stuff. Haven't quite got that far yet. But yeah, this is... it's not... it's not going to rank among the finest 2D platformers I've ever played, but it certainly was a very pleasant surprise, and I'm going to persevere with it because I'm far from sick of it at this point. I'm still having a very nice time with it. Adam, what say you?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely echo what you just said. The art style of it, the humour of it, the multitude of different levels that you can get, just kept bringing me back every time. And in fact, I was playing it just as we started this Dinocast, so and I've just completed chapter 2. So yeah, really, really good. I think it's the humour that the humour brings me back. Just as you complete certain levels, there's a running humour to go through it, and it's all sort of silly based, and it's great. It's just and the music as well. That I think in the video we said it was very jaunty. I was kind of stick by that. It's brings you along through the levels and all the different characters. And I think Shaun, you mentioned in the video that you can tell automatically what each character is thinking or his emotions are.
They're
and
very
yet
expressive.
Yeah, but they're very simple characters. How they get that out is really, really, really good. Just all round good time. And good thumbs up for me.
I thoroughly agree. I think it's the graphics. The graphics are a weird style for me. I really like them, but also there's something slight off about them that I don't like them. They look a bit too amateurish. I don't know, but I kind of like them. But I think the character designs and the ideas and the comedy is amazing. I was really happy with the jokes. Made me laugh out loud, which isn't something which happens a lot. I found the levels moreish. I would constantly think I'm going to stop playing and then go back and do another one, or go back and do the same one again to get a better time or something. There was one moment where I realised I finished the level and I was about to move on to the next one, and I saw, it tells me what my friends did on that level, and I could see your timings and things. So then I went back and beat you both by quite an impressive amount. It took me a hell of a lot of goes to do that, but so that's quite fun, just seeing that. Obviously, it is a multiplayer game as well. I didn't play it that way, but the bits I played of it, I've also got to the ninja bit, but not beyond that. And I don't know if I call this a platform game, really. I think it's more like a mobile puzzle game of knocking blocks out of the way and stuff like that, where a little bit of platforming involved. But yeah, it was very funny. I loved the fact that one of the cutscenes is just some guy getting his head beaten in, and you have to press skip to end it. And I literally went to the toilet, I went and made a cup of tea, came back, he's still getting bashed on the head. I thought, I can see how long this guy... Oh no, they're never going to end this scene. And he's going, ow, ow, ow. Silly things like that. Really... I was the bridge guy at the beginning, yeah. But no, lots of fun. And I think a very simple game, but it does what it does quite well. And the humour really won through for me. I love the pirates and the Raskulls, and especially all the different types of the Raskulls and how they interacted. And I thought it was quite fun. I will play more of this.
So at the end of chapter 1, I don't know if you got there yet, Jason, but Adam,
yes.
you'd have seen this. Really stupid little joke made me laugh my arse off. So you go through this contest, and you fight all these guys, and you're going through the last level, and you're fighting this specific-looking guy, and he keeps getting help from the minions of the main bad guy, who's a rat. So you immediately figure out, well, obviously is this guy in disguise. So you go through the level, and he starts commanding the other rat minions to get involved and start trying to stop you. So when you beat the level, right? But then the guy, so you beat the level, you win the prize, which is this crystal skull thing, and you're given to it, and the enemy hits you and grabs it, and then takes off his disguise, like, it was me all along. And then the game pauses for like a minute, because obviously none of these characters know who this guy is. Like, the ruse was entirely pointless. The game knows that, but the rat is like trying to sell it like it's this grand reveal. It just kind of stares at everything as, anyway, I'm taking your crystal skull. And it just stomps off. It's so fucking funny. There's really dumb humour, but it really made me laugh.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I know what I'm doing after this Dinocast. I'm going to go back and see if I can beat Jason.
This is one of those games, by the way, is because when I came on here to talk to you, and you, Adam, you were still playing, and I could just hear you getting irate at the game and come on, run, jump. And that's what I was doing last night, and I'm sure my housemate probably heard me getting quite wound up. It's that type of game. But yeah, you just need to make a couple more seconds here, and it won't do it. And you were having to go at rubber banding. You were saying, is it rubber banding? And I said, no, it's just you being bad at the game. But it could well be rubber banding.
I'm sure that they keep the enemy. It doesn't matter how fast and like ahead you get. I'm pretty sure they rubber band the enemy just so it keeps it interesting.
But on the other hand, you're knocking the blocks out of the way, so the person behind you's got an easier path to catch up. So you never know. But I think you're probably right. Yeah, probably rubber banding.
And that was June's Games with Gold. A mixed bag, but pretty much all high quality. And I think those of us who were into the games on offer had a really good time. And again, Super Meat Boy, one of the greatest 2D platformers of all time. So nothing to complain about there. But now that the Games with Gold are out of the way, what else have you fellas been playing? Jason, I'm going to throw it over to you.
Ooh, okay. I've played a couple of things. One, I haven't written down. So I'll just go straight to the game Will Die Alone, which it's one of those games which I would say the premise and the gameplay is all there and good. I think it's all made by one person. And I think if they had another go at it, I think it could be improved. But what is there is good. I'll tell you what it is. So basically, you know, like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and you can sort of erase memories and change things, right?
Yeah.
So I think the way you control it is you're just seeing the computer screen of a worker, and you are controlling the computer screen, and you're in a company that can erase memories, and it's a company that does this officially, and everyone knows that. And then while you're doing this, I'm assuming it's set slightly in the future, I'm not sure. I played it a while ago now, so I'm not really up on the details. But basically, each day you come in and you'll have an email from a supervisor, and you'll have a news report about what's going on in the outside world. And there's quite a lot of protests about the company you're working for, saying it's bad for society and that sort of thing. And other people saying, no, it's actually good and helps society. And then you'll get a file on a particular client for the day, and the client will basically say what they want from their life and why they think they went wrong, and then you'll have a list of a bunch of images of like 5 memories or something, and you get to choose which memory you can delete to change their projected future. And then you'll get an idea of what their future might be, and then you choose which one to delete, and then after that it projects what their actual future is now going to be. And quite a lot of them end with "will die alone" because you get it wrong. It's an okay game. It's a very short game. There's not that many days' work to get through. It is a story. And in fact, there's even, I don't know if it was a DLC or if it's just another level they latched on afterwards, but there's like 2 distinct players or play types. And it was fine. I thought it could have done a bit more with setting up, like second guessing the clients, because the clients will say, this is the kind of thing I want to get and I want you to delete this specific type of memory. And then I think there's one of them you look at and you think, well, I don't think that's good for them. I think that's actually going to make their life worse. I think I should delete this other type of memory. And I thought they could play more into that, and I don't think they really went with it.
Oh, that's a shame. I was getting quite hooked there.
Yeah, it kind of leads you into it. And I still say play it, because I say it's a very short game. You can knock it out in a couple of hours, probably.
Is it on Game Pass?
Yeah, it must have been, yeah. Yeah, so it's Will Die Alone. And it's quite... Now, I went... Because I must have gone through it twice just to get all of the achievements and that. And you can mess up everyone's life, and you can make sure everyone's happy. But because there's very little interaction, you just get like a report at the end of their projected future, and that's so it's entertaining. But I could see if someone really wanted to go into like making a big budget game out of this, then they could put a bit more of your dystopian future on it, or that sort of thing. Not your specific dystopian future, just generally. So I think that's quite nice. And then after that, have either of you played that, by the way? Have you heard of it?
No.
No, but the name did ring a bell. So if it's on Game Pass, I've probably downloaded it on my list of stuff to give a shot.
Yeah, it's one of those ones I've hanging around for a while, and I finally gave it a shot and enjoyed it. It's only that I'm not putting down on the game at all, and I love a game which seems to be made by mostly one person anyway, and they've done a very good, concise game. I just think if they then made another one based on a similar idea, I'm sure they would no doubt make a slightly better one. Not putting this one down. I hate putting down games which don't... I think it's a good game, is what I'm trying to say. Play it. Not Will Die Alone. And another game I've had on my console for quite a while, and I'm going to tell you about it as if I'm just telling you about it, but it's actually Shaun Yu that reminded me about this game a while back. Unpacking. I finally got around to playing that. And yeah, really good game. It is... The really basic core concept is you are, and if you've seen my house, you will probably think, why the hell is he playing this game? It's basically putting things neatly or organised into a home, or different rooms in a home. This is the core concept, which is, yeah, you'll have a bunch of cardboard boxes it's like an isometric room, and you unpack the boxes and you put them in places like on shelves or whatever. It can be like DVDs on a shelf, or it can be cutlery in a drawer, whatever, something like that. That's the basic idea of the game, and as a game in itself, that would be perfectly acceptable, and it works, and it's calming. Everything's got a place. It will flash a little red light if it thinks you've got it wrong, but generally speaking, the game is very well constructed that things make sense wherever you put them, but they don't make... Where you think it doesn't make sense, the game will also think it doesn't make sense. I think it's very well designed that way. You can get away with putting things in silly places, and there's obviously silly achievements for putting things in weird places, and a lot of it is interactive, not in a great game-changing way, but things will make a noise, and some things you can put with other things and that thing. But that's not the main thing. But where they've really, I think, gone out of their way with it is... They could have just done this, or here's a room, unpack it, put stuff away. But they've not done that. They've said, we're going to tell a story, or we're going to... Basically, it's all... Every room you undo is a particular person's room. So it starts off as their childhood bedroom when they first get their own bedroom, and you're just dividing things up into that bedroom, and it's toys and stuff. And then the next one is, I think they've gone to college. And then moving on throughout their life, and you'll see... As it goes on, some of the items that were in your kid's bedroom have stayed with you, and other ones come and go. And then, like a mug you might have had as a child is still with you quite near the end, when it's the one you keep your toothbrush in the bathroom now. It's not the one you're drinking out of, but it's got a chip on it. And it's really well done in the fact that it doesn't. Apart from a little scribble, once you've completed a level, it'll say a little scribble underneath a photo of the room, with a little opinion by the person who lives there. And that's the only clue you get to their life, and it never is that in-depth. But you're getting so much story just from the items in the room and where they are and the type of objects and the characters, and you can see, you can determine, what they do for a living, who their friends are, what their mood is some of the time, what they're clinging on to. Yeah, I thought this was a really good game. I think I was in that. I've talked about what I call therapy games, and I've got used to playing a lot of depressing games in the sense that I kind of expected this to end on, oh, this person's going to die and we're going to pack up all their stuff as their child and then determine what we should keep for ourselves in our own home. It didn't go down that dark route. That's not really a spoiler because I'm telling you what it doesn't do. It does, but it does follow a very a good story of characters with ups and downs, but it doesn't tell you anything. It just shows you it through items, and that was really nice. And it's calming to play, but you're also getting a narrative fed to you, but you can also lay your own thoughts on top of it. And I love that type of game, so I'm very pleased I finally got around to playing it. And very good game. I congratulate them.
That's how that was sold to me. It's what hooked me into the idea. Someone describing it by and large as you did. You know, it's just context, and you can, it's telling a story, but you can then add or detract what you will on top of that or not.
Yeah,
which is very, very cool. Very, very cool.
I highly recommend it. And that's mostly what I've been playing this month.
Adam, what have you been on, mate?
Not too much, but I have picked up a game that I brought quite a while ago. Well, I say brought, or did I? No, definitely brought it. I couldn't remember if it was on Game Pass or whether I downloaded it from Game Pass or whether I actually brought it. But It Takes Two.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I've had it on here for quite a while, and I said to my wife, "Do you fancy playing?" And she said, "Yeah, I fancy playing." So we had a little go together, and my God, is it in depth? Wow. my wife was almost in tears straight away, and I was like, "Oh, jeez." Wow. It basically surrounds this little family of three, and you've got Cody and May, which are a married couple, and you have Rose, who is their daughter. And Cody and May are getting a divorce, and so they tell their daughter Rose that they're getting a divorce. So she then goes running off, and she's got these little dolls that look like her parents, and she starts play acting to try and get them back together and repair their relationship. While she's doing this, of course, she's crying, and her tears fall on the dolls, and it takes the spirits of Cody and May and transports them into the dolls. And so now the parents are stuck in these little tiny doll versions of themselves in their big massive house. And it's basically a platformer designed for two people. I don't think you can play it single player, so it's designed for two people, and you have to run through the level. First you're trying to get to Rose because they think that she knows a way to reverse the spell. But as you get beyond that, we've got beyond a little bit of that. As you get beyond that, it more becomes trying to fix their relationship through puzzles and stuff. And there's a I think it's their like a counsellor, and he's been transported into like this book. Like this diary, and he's constantly trying to guide you into fixing your relationship, and that's as far as we've got so far. But it's incredibly in depth. The gameplay is absolutely fantastic. You can the movement of them is absolutely brilliant, and it pulls in a lot of mechanics from a lot of different types of games and genres, and it's great. It's absolutely fantastic game. Definitely pick it up. It's it's a lot of fun, and me and my wife will probably definitely try and finish it.
This one's intrigued me for quite a while. When it first came out, they had the first level free. I think it might still be free, or Yeah, for free, and I think it's also one of those, if you buy it, if you play it online, only one of you has to actually own the game. But
Yes.
So I downloaded it to start with, but it's not annoying. It's how the game's meant to be played. You need another person to play it with, and I've never had another person.
Clue is
to
in
play
the
it
name.
with. The only I know. I just said I'm not putting it down. It's exactly why this type of game and those games we play in the castle, we were here, and other games of that ilk where you need another player, they really work for that reason. And I just didn't have someone to play it with. But I was very much pleased to hear that it's coming across the way you're saying, because I thought it was going to be about like a divorce type thing and some sort of child's point of view of development of parents, and I don't know if it brings them together or not. Maybe they'll amicably accept that it's never going to work out. Who knows? But that sort of intrigues me, where it's a bigger issue but in a child's mind, and I've heard the high variety of levels, and I've heard good things, so I hope to give this a go one day.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. If you need another player, I'm available, because it's fantastic, and I'll happily play it again.
Okay, we have not finished with your wife yet. I don't want to be that sort of person where you're sort of cheating on like a Netflix thing with someone else. I'll let you finish that, and then we'll do this afterwards.
It was on Game Pass. I think it's actually on EA Play, which you also get through Game Pass. Because Adam, you may not recall this. You and I were going to play this for the channel quite some time ago.
Maybe that's why it was on my...
Yeah, I think that's why you downloaded it, but we realised it was going to be a much bigger endeavour than we thought. We was going to do we thought it was going to be like a small bunch of episodes that we could plug in when we didn't have a game with gold or something like that, but it turned out to be actually quite a hefty game. So
yeah. Oh, you never know. It may come to the channel, guys. Look out. But yeah, other than that, that is all I've been playing. Other than the normal, which you've heard me rabbit on about, the Minecraft and the editing, and yeah. Other than that,
there he goes.
That's me.
Well, to a degree, the channel is kind of a nice little way to keep up with what I'm playing, because my little Friday videos are normally when I start a new game, and that's what I play. But I couldn't just run straight through Turtles. It deserved more than I had to give it at the time, because I don't like having more than one game on the go at a time. And I was, two things, funnily enough. I was about halfway through. I'm a big fan of the Shantae games, which are like action platform with Metroidvania elements, those kind of things. So I managed to get the original has been remastered on the... Or not even really remastered. It's more just kind of an emulated port for the Switch, which was on cheap. So I was playing that. And in doing so, my Switch seemed to be having problems. So I spent the better part of a week playing Shantae with really bad sound. It was like kind of distorted and slow. And I couldn't tolerate that. So I spent the better part of a week trying to fix my Switch, thinking there was a problem with it, trying all sorts of resets, this, that, and the other. And ultimately, it turned out I need to fucking reinstall Elgato, because my Switch... The Switch won't actually play through either of my PC monitors. Just has a black screen. It will play on a telly and it will play through Elgato, so I mostly play through Elgato. Because then if I need to record something, I can. Got a video coming up. Dinocast, just while we're talking, Dinocast is moving to Fridays. Because what we had been doing is I'd been editing it. We record it on a Tuesday night, and I'd largely been editing it on the Tuesday night and stuff, and that's just fucking ridiculous. Why don't I just release it on Friday? So anyway, yeah, I've recorded a game that's coming out on Friday on the Switch, so I've proved that that's all fixed and fine. I finished my first Shantae game, which I've not spent a lot of time talking about, but it's very, very good. Fucking hard in the early stages. It's a 2002 Game Boy Advance game, or I think it's actually a Game Boy Color game, then came for the Game Boy Advance. It's very, very tricky, but a lot of the charm and the humour that is baked into the entire series from there is in that game. A lot of the core mechanics that stick through the rest of the games are there, and I've managed to obtain the other games the second and the fifth game in sales over the course of the month. So it's now time for Turtles. Now they can get my full attention, and then I'll go back and play those other Shantae games to have played all 5. But really, they've not done bad out of me, considering as a season. It was a game series I started playing because I knew I had 2 of them through Game Pass, Half Genie Hero and Shantae and the Pirate's Curse, I think it was. And I watch Some Call Me Johnny on YouTube, and he's done retrospectives of the series. I came across them, I'm like, that sounds pretty fun. I've got one for the Xbox on between games. This is a year or 2 ago, and I played that, and I've been a bit of a fan of the series ever since. And I've now got my friend Cormac into them as well. He's now picked them all up, so he's going to have a blast of them. And yeah, they're really super fun and charming. But that's, other than the bits you've seen on the channel, that's pretty much all I've been playing. It's been a bit of a quiet one. I don't know when we did the last Dinocast only 3 weeks ago, I think it was, because I got COVID and all that. So I think I'd beaten Demon Turf by that point. But if not, I beat Demon Turf before moving on to Shantae. That's a great. If you like 3D platformers, that's a really, really good one. Phenomenal controls. But yeah, that's what I've been playing. Are you guys still with me?
Yeah, I'm still with you.
Sorry.
It's all right.
What I'm doing here is I keep thinking I'm going to interrupt and ask you about things like, tell me more about this Demon Turf, because I don't actually know anything about Demon Turf. And then it sort of comes to an end and I'm still thinking about it, and then I think I've left it too long, I shouldn't interrupt. So
well, if you want to know my thoughts about Demon Turf, listen to last month's podcast. I go into it in quite a lot of depth, I think.
I did listen to it. I must have forgotten about it. Okay, I'll go back and listen to it again, because that's the beauty of YouTube.
Actually, one of the really cool things about Demon Turf, they've released a DLC called something like Neon Splash, where they've given everything a different coat of paint. Because one of the criticisms I will have about Demon Turf is it does look a bit samey as you go through. There's a reason for that. It's in hell, but I think because it was such a small team. But this Neon Splash can be played, is only like a $5, but it can be played without the main game. So you can actually, all of the pitch perfect controls are in there, but it's a series of challenges rather than a story. So if you did want to just see if you like the feel of it before jumping into the 20-30 hour full experience, that is there for cheap. So that's actually quite a cool idea that they had, and I'm going to be picking that up because I really, really like Demon Turf. I've just got to pop through and get a last few of the achievements and collectibles. But yeah, very, very good little game.
Lovely.
But that is everything we have all been playing. What have we been watching? Adam, have you finished Psych yet?
No, I haven't. I'm still going through it. My time is limited these days.
Of course.
But yeah, I've been going through Psych, but I've actually gone back to an old series that me and my wife completed a while back now. But Supernatural. We've gone back to watching Supernatural, and that's a joy. If you like all that, well, supernatural stuff of vampires and demons and the King of Hell and the apocalypse and all stuff like that, witches, magic, yeah, turn that on. It's absolutely brilliant time. You got Jensen Ackles, I think his name is pronounced, as Dean Winchester. You got Jared Padalecki, who is Sam Winchester. They're the two brothers. You got the dad, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who is John Winchester, and Samantha Smith, who plays Mary Winchester. And there's a whole host of other actors that you probably would have seen in other stuff as well. It's an absolutely fantastic series. It's got 15 seasons, and yeah, you will have an absolute awesome time watching it. And yeah, it's just absolutely brilliant.
I have a question about Supernatural. Did that go off air for a few years and then come back for like 3 or 4 more seasons? Or has it been a continuous run? Because the weird thing with it is, because I think that started around the same time Smallville did, because I know they were somewhat similarly paced and they were on at the same time. It used to be kind of a conversation in the house, because I was... Do you know what? I watched all of Smallville. I was never really a Smallville fan. It's not a good show, but it's a Superman show, so I watched it all. But I would download that from America so I could watch it as it went out in the States, because it was on like Channel 4 in the mid-afternoon, so it was kind of cut and had adverts in. But I'd get Supernatural at the same time for my sister, because I don't think that was showing in the UK at the time. It obviously came to the UK a little later. But Smallville made it up to 10 seasons. So maybe I'm wrong, and that started a lot later than I thought it did. Supernatural.
Well, it started in 2005 and ended in 2020.
Yeah, so that'd be 15 years. So that would be 15 seasons. No,
but
it must just be something I had in my head then. That no, it was always... Well, it did because the channel changed. It was on the WB that became the CW.
Yes. Yeah.
In the States, because it... because of deals. But... oh no, cool. Then it obviously started a lot later than I thought it did.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely fantastic. Definitely get into it. It's got comedy, it's got drama, it's got action. There's some of them that like send chills up my spine, like as in like horror type thing, and it plays on a lot of references to other horrors, and it's fantastic. It's just a fantastic show all around. All the actors are superb in it, and in fact, I think Jared actually married one of the other actors who plays Ruby. Genevieve Padalecki. Yeah, so it went on that long that they formed a relationship. I think Jensen did as well, but I can't remember.
Well, also with Genevieve, and they had to fight out.
A complete threesome.
The two lead actors didn't speak for the last 7 years of the show.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's just a fantastic show. A lot of the actors have moved on to other stuff as well. Jensen has moved on to a very recent a series that I'm meant to catch and watch, but I can't remember what it was called now.
I know he's going to be playing Batman in something soon, because he's...
Really?
Yeah, he's always wanted to play Batman, and there's been a fan base around it. I think he's going to be in an animated movie or something.
Oh, cool.
Which is kind of cool for him, if that's like a dream job. It's going to pay.
Oh, he has been in Batman quite a bit.
He was in Dawson's Creek.
He played Jason Todd in Under
No,
Red
he's
Hood.
actually going to be Bruce. He's going to be Batman in something.
Oh, the Batman. Okay.
Yeah.
He has played that before as well. In
What was that in? TV animated
The
movies?
Long Halloween.
Yeah. I don't pay attention to the voice cast of those, to be fair, unless it's Kevin Conroy.
Oh, he's in The Boys as well.
The Boys, that's it. The
Don't
Boys,
tell.
well done.
If you know anything about The Boys, I don't watch the
I don't-
season till it's over.
I haven't
Please
seen
don't
it
spoil
yet.
anything for season 3.
I don't
can't
know anything.
fucking
I'm
wait.
avoiding it myself.
Oh, it's going to be so awesome.
Oh, there you go. It's say back to Jensen Ackles. Yeah, he plays Dean.
I don't know who Dean is. Okay.
Dean Winchester. Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Yes, of the Winchester brothers. I don't know much about Supernatural, but the people that like it seem to really like it, and that can only be a good sign.
Oh, definitely go watch it. We ended up buying the whole box set of every single season. So yeah, it was that good. Yeah, brilliant. Absolutely
They decided
fantastic.
to end that in 2020. They must have got quite
Yeah.
lucky because they like in America. Because I'm guessing if it finished in 2020, it would be the 2019 to 2020 season, which is normally October through May. So they'd probably just about got everything shot before everything locked down, so they could do the final
Yeah.
season properly rather than, as a lot of shows went on hiatus. Glow just got unceremoniously cancelled by Netflix. The bastards! But yeah, it's good that they got to go
Supernatural
out
knew it
on
was
their
coming.
good that they got to go out on their own terms properly rather than kind of having to deal with a pandemic for their final last hurrah.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's I say it's a great series, so it's nice that it's ended well. But other than that, the only other thing which isn't TV related, although I really hope one day it will be, I picked up a book, and you're gonna have to you have to forgive me for the pronunciation, because I'm renowned for getting pronunciations of this particular series wrong. I'll read all these names as I'm reading through the books, and I'll think I've got it correct, and then I'll start speaking to someone about the books, and they'll go, "Oh yeah," and they'll name off all these names. I'm like, okay, well I totally got those wrong. So it's of the Old Kingdom series, and by a writer called Garth Nix, and it's Tertial and Eleanor, and it's a prequel to the whole entire series, and it's basically the mum and dad of Sabriel, and Sabriel is it's quite famous. It sort of landed a lot of records and sales and stuff like that.
My God,
yeah.
like, you're saying all this, I'm like, I think you're confusing a book with a country and western album, and you're doing nothing to convince me that this isn't actually a country and western album.
It's not,
Did you read the
it's
book?
not,
Did you
I
read the
swear.
lyrics?
I'm telling you, it is a fantastic. It's basically it's a fantasy series, so I should explain. It is a fantasy series based in the Old Kingdom. I personally think they based the map off of England itself and the
pretty standard.
Hadrian's Wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, it just looks like it to me. But yeah, it's if you want to delve into fantasy, start with Garth Nix. Like, he basically, for me, he writes the rules on. He sets the standard. He really is that good, and yeah, it's a fantastic series. It's got magic in it. It's got the undead in it, and the 7 gates of hell. Yeah, I think 7. Yeah, yeah, but absolutely fantastic. It was the series that got me into writing. I basically picked up back when I was 21. I picked up the book Lyriel, and I didn't really up until that point pick up books. I'd picked up the odd one or two here and there, but not really in depth. And that was the first one that I picked up and really got into. Realised that I jumped I jumped the series because Liriel is actually the second book in the series. So I went back to Sebriel, and yeah, I had a wonderful time. And then you've got Abhorsen, which is the third book, and then it goes on. I think there's 5 or 6 books looking at my shelf, I believe. Yes. And,
so just on that, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
because this kind of thing interests me. So you weren't really a reader.
No, I wasn't
How
really a
did you
reader.
come to pick up that book? Like, did you watch the Lord of the Rings films when I want some fantasy and then Google what's good fantasy to... Like, how did that come about?
It was complete random chance. It really was. So I was dating a girl in Wolverhampton who shall name nameless for obvious reasons, and we'd been going out for about 2 years at that point. No, one year. We'd been going out for about 1 year, and she started a job in Boots, funny enough. And so during Saturday, so I used to go up there on a Friday, dead after work. I used to drive up, and then I used to drive back down Sunday, and then do a whole week's work, and then drive back up Friday. I did that for 2.5 years. Yeah,
dedication.
She
should have put a ring on it.
I was trying, but things split us apart, unfortunately. But during that time, obviously, so she had this job in Boots because she had to earn money as well. Obviously, she was in stage school, and so during those Saturdays, I basically had free time to roam about Wolverhampton, and I used to get up to all sorts of things. Like, I used to go down the pub. I made a load of friends down there, and then I used to just wander about. And one day, I just happened to wander into Waterstones, and I don't know what I was looking for. I didn't have a clue. I didn't even know why I was in there, and I just looking about, and the front cover just grabbed me because he's got these symbols that make up the magic within this realm, and the symbols are very very artistically drawn, and it just caught my eye, and I was like, oh, and I picked the book up, and I just flipped it over to the back to read the synopsis, and I was like, wow, this is really good. I'm gonna buy this. So I brought it, and yeah, I just all of a sudden fell in love with fantasy books, and from there I went on to Sarah J. Maas, which I've spoke about on this channel, and other writers. And
she was the crystal something.
You've got a load of them, but you've got the Kingdom of Ash, Tower of Dawn, Empress of Storm, but then you've got the other ones, Court of Mist and Fury, and the one I spoke about was the brand new one. I can't read it from here. Something City, but it's a brand new one that's out. The names elude me for a second, but
maybe
yeah,
you're thinking of something else.
It is Crescent City. Crescent City.
Oh, Crescent City.
That's it. Yes.
Yeah, no, just because I remembered you talking about it.
And funny enough, I've actually read the second book in that series now, and it's linked to another set. I won't spoil it if you're going to pick up, but it links it to another series that she wrote, and didn't write any more books for because she moved on to this other
that's
series.
cool.
So, yeah, it looks like she's linked two worlds together, or could be the same world. Who knows? But you have to pick them up and read them. But yeah, it's I fell in love with that type of fantasy from Garth Nix, and I started writing my own, and yeah, that's where it all came from. So to find out that he made a prequel to the series that I fell in love with, I was just like, oh yeah, I'm definitely buying that. So I brought that, and I'm already 13 chapters in. Funny enough, 13th Dinocast. So yeah, Must be fate.
And just in case, because I'm sure our listeners will kill me if I don't ask, did you ever get anything published?
I haven't yet. No, I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and I don't want to start down that path until I'm absolutely happy with what I've written. In fact, I'm thinking of taking some university courses to improve my writing and therefore enhance my stories. And then maybe one day, but for now, they'll stay on my computer where I can look after them.
Fantastic. Jason, what have you been watching, mate?
I've been watching. I pretty much binged all of Killing Eve in about 3 days.
Wow.
That's a show that I've heard about a lot. And for some reason I think one season was on something I had in the past, but it wasn't the first season, so I couldn't watch it. And then I randomly saw that on one of, maybe it's Netflix or something, they had season 1 on there now. So I thought I'll watch that. And then I finished that and then realised, oh no, it's all on iPlayer. I can watch it all. It's fine. And I really got quite into it. So I don't know if you know about it, but it's essentially Sandra Oh and Jodie Comer playing, one's an assassin and one is a, what do you call it, like an intelligence agent. I think it's MI6 or MI5. And it's basically the sort of relationship between, it's a bit like Heat in the sense that it's like the good guy and the bad guy, and it's not really like this at all, but this is like the opening. If you're going to sell it to someone, elevator pitch, it's, good person, bad person, and their fascination with each other as it progresses throughout. And it's basically like a dark comedy about, with like a spy thriller. There's like spy thriller background plots going on, but I'd say the main drawing thing is the characters, who I think are very well developed, and things move along quite swiftly. I think the first 2 seasons are absolutely great. The third and fourth for a bit, they're fine. They're absolutely fine. But I didn't realise it was ending at the end of the 4th season. I thought we had another season to go. And when it ended, I thought, oh, okay, well, that's fine. What are they going to do next season? Oh, that was the finale. Oh, okay, not as spectacular as I thought. But it is, not as satisfying as I thought. I think it did tie up all the loose ends very quickly. But it's just, it wasn't. I think the first 2 seasons are absolutely fantastic, and then after that, it's just, you're really just sticking around for the characters more than anything. The plot kind of is just, spy stuff going on. Everyone's just backstabbing everyone. But yeah, good show. Really liked it. Loved the characters. I've not really seen Jodie Comer in anything other than like, what's that film she did with Ryan Reynolds the other month? Free Guy. That.
Oh, Free Guy.
I know she's been around for years, but yeah. Really impressed. Great characters, great visuals. It's all over it's like jumping across the world in different locations every time. Lots of things to keep interested in. Quite funny. Really enjoyable. Do recommend it. It was one of those things I hadn't seen. The only thing I'd seen before is I randomly turned it on the TV one night, and there was a woman in a Muppet Pig's head, dressed in like a sexy pink. I'm going to describe it as, I'm sure you can picture this if I describe it, like an Oktoberfest outfit woman. That's how I imagine it. And she was just slaughtering someone hanging up. And that is the 30 seconds I saw of this show before I watched it. And then went, oh, interesting, but I won't just watch this bit, I will see it from the beginning. And now, 3 years later, I now know the context that was in, and it all makes sense. And then after I finished that, I went straight on to, it's on Disney Plus channel. It's called Disney Plus, isn't it? And it was Pistols, Pistol, I think, which is based on Sex Pistols and the memoir of, I forgot his name, Steve Jones. Yes, guitarist guy. Which is, that was enjoyable. Taught me some things. Obviously, it's like a standard bio. It's obviously based on his memoirs and his biography, so some of the lines are a bit clunky as they sound like they're written in a book and they've just put them in someone's mouth. And and it goes by very quickly because obviously they didn't have that long together. But it was an interesting story to watch, and I quite enjoyed it. I won't watch it again because it's over, but I'd recommend it to anyone. It's all good. But that's mostly what I've been watching. I pretty much spent...
Just on that, because I was kind of interested in that Pam and Tommy thing.
Yeah.
So, like, because that's on Disney Plus, rather than the Fox one and that. How sanitized do you feel that is? Because they didn't even use sex, like the name of the band, in the name of the show, which is immediately making me think, well, what is the point of, if they're not even going to put the Sex Pistols as the title of the show because they're afraid of offending people, what is this content gonna have to offer? Which is basically, it was a horrifying cyclone of drugs and addiction.
Yeah. It's on the Disney Plus. However, it's not marketed as that at all. Once you go into it, it's basically FX is on the actual title card. It doesn't mention Disney anywhere. There is swearing, criminal damage, sex galore, vandalism, boobs, everything flying everywhere, filth. I wouldn't worry about that. I haven't seen the Tom and Pammy one, but I probably will. I'm gonna say complete the set, but it just happens to be on Disney Plus. I don't think they're not. It's not Disney princesses by any means. This is.
I just wondered if they were trying to do. I was just wondering if they were going to try and do adult content for an audience that could watch a Marvel or a Star Wars. Do you know what I mean? Like, they would allude to all of the things, but never actually. Do you know what I mean? Like, horribly sanitized. Because I don't have Disney Plus, and I have no real. It's not that I don't have any real interest in getting it. It's that it's not really worth my time. It's not really worth my money. Sorry, not my time. It's got Bob's Burgers on there, for God's sake. It's got All of Sunny in Philadelphia, I believe. If it's got all the Fox shows. So, yeah, it's got plenty on there to watch. But it's just the amount of time I have to warrant paying a monthly subscription is probably not actually worth the money to me. But... Oh, cool. Well, I might look at reviews of the Pam and Tommy one and see if that's of interest then, because I only saw that whole saga through the eyes of a very horny teenager, and obviously after watching the Britney Spears meltdown and stuff like that, I came to very much empathise with what Pam may have been going through at the time and stuff like that. So if that's kind of the core of the drama, and it's not like kind of, it might be worth my time watching, because I'd be quite interested to get the other side of it.
Yeah, I think I'll give that a go. I think I've like with all memoir-y things, it's clearly from someone's point of view, and I know
of course,
John Lydon hasn't given any approval of it at all. So. It's although he comes out of it quite well, I would say, as a character. I don't think he could put it down and say it's making fun of him by any means. He comes across quite well, but he's only sort of, he's not in really the first episode at all because he doesn't join the band until after that. But I think he acknowledges that he is kind of the face of the band, him and Sid Vicious and that sort of thing, who really were quite latecomers to the actual setup. But yeah, it's definitely told from the point of view of the guitarist guy who was the original lead singer, and surprisingly, I didn't realise she'd be in it so much. Chrissie Hynde is like quite a main character in the whole thing. And that was quite surprising. And the woman that plays her is absolutely gorgeous as well. It took me ages trying to work out who she was. I didn't know her. I thought she was someone else. Anyway, but yeah, and it's I'd say if you have Disney Plus and you're a bit adult and you don't mind some effing and jeffing, then it's worth a watch. It's only like 6 episodes. It's fine. I watched it in a day, I think. So yeah, it's all right. I probably will look at the Tom and Pammy one as well to see if that's similar. And while on Disney Plus, I wasn't going to mention this, but I've also watched all of the Obi-Wan Kenobi thing, which was, I think it's fine. My feed on Facebook, whatever, is full of the worst piece of trash ever, combined with other people going, It's wonderful stuff. It's to me, it's the same level as Star Wars. I don't think Star Wars has ever reached the peaks of storytelling or drama or anything, and people have always complained about Star Wars and plot holes and whatever. And to me, this is more entertaining than the Book of Boba Fett. It kept me watching it all the way through. I think it's got a nice story. I think it does add to the original trilogy a little bit. And I would recommend that as well. I think it's absolutely fine. No, it's not high class writing by any means, but there are certain moments which are fantastic, and other bits which, if you're being that picky, then I don't know how you can watch some of the other stuff, to be honest.
It just reeks of content for content's sake for me. But I'm not a Star Wars fan, and I'll happily say the same thing about the Disney Marvel TV shows.
Oh, you do, yeah.
They're just most of it does not need to exist. Although I will admit, I've started watching Ms. Marvel, and that's actually really charming. It's really fun.
Yeah, my wife started watching that. She said it was pretty good.
Yeah, it's got the energy of Spider-Man: Homecoming, which I think it's the complaint I keep making about Marvel, and they broke that a little with Multiverse of Madness. Everything feeling the same, everything being very predictable, whereas this has a very youthful, energetic vibe, and they've kept the several of the parts of the character that I really like her being a massive fucking superhero fangirl and all shit like that. So, yeah, it's very cool. But sorry, Jason, I didn't mean to drag.
No,
I didn't mean to arrest the subject.
You did
from
not.
You.
You've enhanced it because you've reminded me that I also watched, and it's the final thing I'll talk about, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which was released.
Don't tell me about it. I haven't
just
seen
the other day. We've already discussed this in a previous Dinocast anyway. But yes, so all I'll say is, Shaun, I see exactly what you were saying when you said, and I'm going to badly. You described it as like a Disney horror movie or something, and I get that. Yeah, it's very good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thought it was crazy fun.
And that was a surprise because I didn't know that was being released on that channel that night. I thought I'd have a while before I saw that, and then I was like, "Oh, that's coming out soon. Oh, it's out today. Oh, I'll watch that then." So that was my evening. That was good. That was a good evening's entertainment.
Did you watch right to the end of the end credits? Because that pissed a lot of people off, and I thought that was freaking brilliant.
I feel like I did. Can you give me a slight hint without giving it away? And I'll.
Yeah, it's over. No.
I've forgotten it, but yes, I did watch something that is. Hang on. Yeah, I know I saw it, but I've clearly not been that traumatized by it because it was fine. Yeah, I must have fast forwarded to see what was at the end, and I saw whatever was at the end. Yeah. It didn't piss me off. I just went and had another cup of tea or something. One last thing I'll talk about. I've also rewatched, because that's now out on Blu-ray, is The Batman. And I would say all of my little issues with the thing is mainly taken away when you allow pee breaks within the film. I think if you see it as like 3 separate episodes or something, with a little interlude in between each one, or if you're not panicking that you're going to have to get up and get people out of the way, then you're not thinking about having to go pee, it actually works much better, and all the little things that I thought were taking too long were slowed down, were fine.
If you can watch it in 3 acts, what with having a solid 3-act structure, which is what things are meant to have. Oh, it's such a
well, I would like them to say interlude. You may now go to the restroom or the toilet and get yourself a drink and then come back. That's what I'd like. I don't want to be guessing when's the because I was trying to guess when I actually went to the toilet in the cinema. Eh?
Well, they always have an intermission.
Yeah, yes. Well, that's what I want. I don't really want this in the cinema. I just want to have better bladder control. But what I want is. So I'm watching the Blu-ray version, and I'm thinking, when did I go to the toilet? Because I can't work out what I've missed. I think I probably missed the bit, or half of the bit, where he's talking to Alfred in the hospital. But not. I'm not sure, because I definitely saw some of that. So it's weird watching a film back trying to work out, well, what didn't I see? Because I know I went to the toilet at some point. Anyway, I went quite quickly though. This is too much information about my peeing behaviour. I'm sorry. But generally speaking, knowing how... So my issues with Batman originally were it was much longer than I expected because I didn't think it was a long film knowing when I went in. And obviously I didn't like saying, excuse me, I want to go to the toilet. So knowing
Jason's
that
sitting there
makes
chugging
it a whole
like
lot better.
a fucking great thing of Coke the size of his head going, oh, we'll be out in an hour and a half, this is no problem. Oh, God! Batman, stop talking to Catwoman, I've got to pee!
Mistakes were made.
If I ever need to pee in a cinema, you know, the moment I've gone to go and pee, I've spent the previous 40 minutes thinking about that I'm going to have to do that at some point.
Do you know what? I'm exactly the same. I can normally hold it through most every film, but I will sit there getting increasingly uncomfortable going, well, I should have just gone 5 minutes ago when they were talking. I could have missed that bit. But I didn't know that at the time. If I go now, there's probably going to be an explosion or someone will die.
I had this with the last Star Wars film, Skywalker thing, whatever it's called, where they keep having these sort of... I'm not claiming Batman had fake out endings, but it kept sort of having natural ends to things, and then it would do something else. And the Skywalker did that thing as well. It was a case of, oh, right, we are finishing, so I'll just wait the extra 5 minutes because it's going to end now. Fuck's sake, they've started a whole new plot. It was that kind of thing. Anyway, so... yeah, watch it when you can pause it. That's a good way I'd recommend it. I'm sure people will say, no, watch it in the best type of screen and massive visions and the great sound. And I say no, have a toilet nearby. Yeah, I know you would. I like a pause button.
Fucking incredible film.
It was. Anyway, that is all of the films and TV shows I have watched this month.
Cool. Well, I'm gonna blast through mine a little because I've got quite the topic to talk about at the end. So I went to see the Bob's Burgers movie that I believe should have been out 2 years ago.
Oh wow!
It's a really strange one. I need to watch it again because I came out feeling not disappointed, but a little so like. This may be a slightly unfair comparison, but this is where we're going. You've got the Simpsons movie, you've got the South Park movie, and they both took everything they did well in the show and cranked it up to 11.
Yeah.
Whereas Bob's Burgers, the movie, is absolutely authentic to the show to a fault that it feels like an hour and 20-minute long episode. Only with musical numbers. And that is probably exactly what most people going to see the film want. But it wasn't what I was expecting because I'm so used to making the jump to the big screen, things being bigger and more cinematic perhaps and stuff like that. Whereas this just was an incredibly solid Bob's Burgers. Like, I was giggling from start to finish. There wasn't a minute where I wasn't having a great time watching it. It just kind of... I think I was a bit deflated because I was sat there waiting it to jump to another level, which it never really did. And again, that's probably more on me than on the show because it's entirely within the ethos of the show. Like I expected, the story is big for Bob's Burgers, but it's still a very, very small story. So yeah, if you're a fan of Bob's Burgers, definitely watch it. It's absolutely worth your time. It's wonderful, but just expect it to be Bob's Burgers, but an hour and 20 minutes rather than the leap up that the Simpsons or the South Park movie was. I think that's a fair way.
How's the music? How's the songs? Are they catchy? Are you clicking your fingers? Are you dancing in your seat?
They do quite a lot with them. There's some that are a bit forgettable. There are some that are really, really great. And there are some that are specifically that, because like there's a whole thing running through Bob's Burgers that a lot of the characters think they're musical and they're actually really kind of not, and that works its way into some of the songs, which is really clever and really, really funny. But yeah, it still worked well enough that I was never sitting there as I can do during things with songs. I never sat there kind of metaphorically looking at my watch going, okay, I've got the song, can we move on to the next bit? It was never anything like that. I thoroughly enjoyed it. But yeah, hopefully it's an experience. Hopefully it made money. It's an experience they can learn from, and we can get more, because I just want more Bob's Burgers. That show is charming as hell and very, very funny, and it's just wall-to-wall bad, weak puns, which is just absolutely my cup of tea. That's why I've watched 12 seasons of it or whatever it is. Oh, I love a weak pun. But in the movie surprise of the month, of a month I admittedly didn't see very many movies, I went to see Top Gun Maverick, perhaps largely in part because me and my buddy kind of made a joke out of it. The one of the lead characters who plays a guy, the character's called Rooster. Like, his dad was, it's mild spoilery territory, but I'm not going to spoil the whole film. His dad was Goose in the previous Top Gun. It's the pilot who died. But he has this mustache, and it's like this perfectly groomed, like, little, like, just the top lip mustache. And for some reason, me and my buddy just found that hilarious, and that became like a little in-joke with us. Like, we were wondering how they were going to fit the music of the previous movie in and stuff, and we hit upon the idea of them playing what's the other famous song? There's Danger Zone. What's the other one?
Is it Take My Breath Away, or is that different?
Take My Breath Away, that was it. Like, we came upon the idea that the entire, like, introduction to this character was he was going to come in with a big old beard, and he was going to square up to Tom Cruise and say, "You got my father killed," and then he was going to play that whole song, right? No, I think we did go with Danger Zone. They were going to play the whole song, but basically in slow motion while standing right in Tom Cruise's face, staring him directly in the eye. He slowly shaves his beard, leaving just that moustache while glowering straight into his face. So it became a big joke between the two of us. So we went to watch it because there was nothing else on. I think that was the week. It was that or Jurassic World. And I really, really hate Jurassic Park movies outside of the original. Like, they anger me. They're so bad. So I really didn't want to go see that. And we're like, oh, well, we'll go see Top Gun, because at the very least we can laugh at it. But no, it completely subverted expectations, because you watch that trailer and you know what it is. It's another Top Gun movie made 30 plus years after the last one, starring Tom Cruise. So it's gonna be faded glory, one last chance to go out in a blaze of fire. He's the best. He's always been the best. They need him back for one last mission. And it's absolutely not that. It's absolutely not that. It's basically they do an exploration. Tom Cruise's character is largely the same, and he's satisfied with his life. He's satisfied with what he's done and where he's got to. And he's got, like, small regrets rather than huge things he needs to overcome. So they actually change it that they don't want him to fly at all. Obviously he does by the end, because it's, so you can do. They don't want him to fly at all. The bulk of the story is he has to whittle down a number of applicants down to 4 for a suicide mission that he is determined to teach them how to survive. And they immediately anchor it in his guilt to Goose's death in the first one. So it gives everything in the film this ominous dread that you, like, before you even get to know anything about these characters, they're gonna die. So you're kind of watching the whole thing with the context of, that guy's quite understandable and relatable. Now I really don't want him to die, but the story is telling me he's gonna die. And the whole thing, like, it spends about an hour and 20, an hour and a half building to finally going on this mission, because otherwise it's all people sitting around talking. and it is really, really well constructed. It takes a bit of a... I don't want to spoil it, but you do get the kind of bit of jet fightery stuff that you want at the end, which feels a little out of place, but it would have been kind of wrong if they'd not put it in, because that's what you're expecting when you go in a Top Gun movie. So they do that, but most of it is just quite a solid character piece dealing with more complex relationships and emotions than I ever expected a Top Gun sequel 30 years later to be dealing with. It was very, very good. Like, again, not spoil it, because I'm not going to tell you what it is, but like the reason there is friction between Tom Cruise's character and Rooster, the son of Goose, but it's not at all that he blames him for his father's death. That's the low-hanging fruit. That's exactly what you'd expect the tension to be. It's not remotely that at all. It really, a lot of it went in surprising directions. And just to, in case some of you are going to be wondering, Jason, you may be wondering, Adam, you may be wondering.
I'm wondering.
Jennifer Connelly is perhaps hotter than ever in this movie.
Possible.
Dear God, she takes my breath away. Oh God, that was a pun.
Hey,
I didn't intend that. No, obviously I'm a similar age. I think she's a year or two older than me, or she's a year or two younger than me. It's one way around. But obviously I enjoyed her in... No, she must be older than me, because I enjoyed her in Labyrinth when I was a kid. So then when I saw Dark City in my late teens, and she was or my early 20s, and yeah, my late teens, and she was a young 20-something, I'm just like, oh, hello there, Jennifer Connelly, you're incredibly attractive. And then she's in Hulk, and I've seen a lot of... I will go watch a movie with her in, because I've actually always considered her an incredibly good actor regardless. She brings a level of quality to most everything she's in. It just doesn't hurt that, Jesus fucking Christ, is she a beautiful looking human being. And apparently a delight to work with. So she's probably a really nice person as well. I hope she's happy in her life without me.
You're sold, mate.
But, go on.
Oh, no, I was going to say, I've not seen it, and half the reason I haven't seen it is because I wanted to rewatch the first one, and I haven't managed to do that yet. Because I haven't seen the original Top Gun probably since it was in the cinemas the first time around.
I didn't rewatch it before watching this one.
I'm not saying you did. I mean, so I don't remember what happened. I hope Goose is all right. But I think that I'd like to know... because in my mind, Top Gun is basically Hot Shots.
Yeah.
That's how I remember Top Gun. I don't know what actually happened in Top Gun. I know there's a volleyball scene and one in a bar, and there was flying some planes through some canyons. That's what I remember of Top Gun. So I would like to review my opinion before I watch the sequel. Everyone who I've heard has seen it has really enjoyed it, but I have not seen it because you just reminded me, went to see Jurassic World Dominion.
Ugh.
Which is what you think it was. So
Just to cap off Top Gun, one of the things that really made me smile right at the start, because you're thinking they're going to put all the old music in, but you don't realise how much. It's got... it credits 3 composers for the score, one being, I think it's Harold Faltermeyer, who did all the original score. So, like, a lot of the music cues are in this and repurposed and used for this one, which is really cool. It's a nice way of being nostalgic without retreading what's been done before. And I know for the most part that's what I liked about Ghostbusters Afterlife, but there are plenty of ways to do a latter day sequel, and this was a very valid one and a very, very good movie. So you were going to say about Jurassic World Dominion. I know.
I was
going
to say nothing about it, to be honest with you. I've forgotten I watched it.
I'd say, because me and my buddy Mark go over it, and he'd made me watch the last few Jurassic Worlds. And you're like, you've got that. He's still got that thing in his head where he's like, oh, it's dinosaurs, it's gonna be cool, and I'm like, oh, it's not though, because all the other movies are bad except the first one. But I'm like, oh cool, I went to see the other. I had to see the last one twice, and I fucking hated the last one, but my little godson wanted to see it as well, and it's just like, I've already seen this and I know this is fucking awful. I've got to sit through it again, and I was just absolutely fucking miserable. Good thing I've got the Cineworld card. If I'd paid for that fucker twice, I probably would have just pretended to be ill. But anyway, when he was floating the idea that maybe we'd see that at Top Gun, I had a look at a review which quickly went, hey, you see the whole trailer that makes it look like humans are living side by side with dinosaurs and dinosaurs are all over the mainland, and yeah, that's not what this film is at all. It's on a fucking island again. I'm like, fuck you! Fuck you, movie! You're intentionally misleading people with the adverts.
I can't go into it without spoiling it, but generally speaking, that is true, but it also doesn't serve the plot at all until they want it to. It's mostly on an island, yeah. And then in the background, oh yeah, the world's got dinosaurs. Yeah. So from my perspective of that film, which I wasn't going to talk about, I'll talk about now, was I don't think I've seen a Jurassic Park probably since the first one. I think I saw a bit of the second one, the last one. I haven't seen any of Jurassic Worlds. So I've got like the bookends of the Jurassic Parks series. If it's ending now, I don't know. So it's got the same characters in pretty much. There were some really good, I think, set pieces and some fun stunts and stuff going on, but it didn't really tie itself together very well or make sense. And certain plot threads just seem to be dropped halfway through, and then other bits in. I wouldn't say it's a bad film. I just don't think it's a very well constructed film.
I'm going to say it's a bad film because I've watched many other Jurassic Park movies, so I'm going to just use my experience to assume.
Okay, I think you could sit a 6-year-old in front of it, and they would be as entertained as they're going to be at any other film. I'll put it that way. And it passed my P test. I don't think I went to the toilet all the way through, so that's good. That's a good sign. And yeah, it's a spectacle film, but there's nothing really there. So wait for it to come out on telly if you want. Have you seen it, Adam? Or any of these films, actually?
No, not yet. I haven't seen Jurassic. My eldest son wants to go see it. Lisa wants to go see Top Gun, so we've got to arrange a babysitter for that one.
I can highly recommend it.
Yeah, so we've got a few to go and see, but yeah, I'm a bit relaxed about all the Jurassic worlds. I sort of take them for what they are, and I have a laugh with them. But yeah,
my thing is, right, and I know this is me taking this a bit too seriously, but I actively came out of that last movie thinking my intelligence had been insulted. I felt that the writing was so fucking lazy that they were literally like, I don't care, it's got dinosaurs in it, people will like it. It personally offended me that it was so lazily and poorly written that it was just like, yeah, and like someone sitting in Hollywood going, that Shaun guy, who I have no idea exists, he's going to be sitting there and he's going to like this because it's got dinosaurs, so I don't have to put in any effort, and I can just do what I want with the characters, and nothing needs to make any sense, and I can drop plot lines here and there, and I can have like the most contrived shit on screen because he's going to see a dinosaur and he's going to clap and he's going to laugh and he's going to pay his money to come see the next one. And I'm like, go fuck yourself, you fucking lazy bad writing cunt. I apologise. I very rarely come out of a movie feeling personally offended, but for fuck's sakes,
I didn't draw you back then.
Pissed myself off thinking about it.
Now added Jeff Goldblum. That was to get you in this time, but that didn't clearly work.
No, he was in the last one as well.
Oh, was he? Oh,
yeah.
So ruined now.
He's in like
I'll tell you one
thing
thing that really drew me and carried me along in the last two movies was the dinosaur Blue. I love Blue. I want a Blue. I don't want a dog. I want a Blue.
I've got to be honest.
Just so cool.
If in that last one, right, because they danced around it, but they didn't say it. If they'd have said, because they're all clones, right, and the little girl is a clone,
Yeah.
they heavily hint at that. If they'd have said, we've cloned the most dangerous thing ever, that is a human brain in a fucking dinosaur, then I'd completely be the opposite. If they were cloning dinosaurs with human brains, that's so fucking stupid. I think it was brilliant. And I would go, please make another movie, because I want the dinosaurs to be talking and hunting people, and it'd be the greatest thing ever. But
Wasn't that the Super Mario Brothers film,
that's
surely?
not lazy enough. Yeah, absolutely. That's a terrible movie, but dear God, can you see them trying desperately and failing to make a good movie? But we've got off on a side tangent, because there is something actually I properly wanted to talk about.
Oh.
Quite some time ago, right, I have a thing where every few years I'll remember... I'll Google Henry Winkler, because I won't remember if he's alive or not. And I'll always be very pleased to find out he's still alive. Now, I've always quite liked Henry Winkler as an actor. I think he's got... I think he's just one of those people with an incredible on-screen presence that no matter what he's in, you could kind of go along with what he's doing. I just think he's got that kind of skill. And... Anyway, so I do sometimes look through what he's been doing just to see if there's anything that would interest me. And I came across a show called Barry, which admittedly I promptly forgot about for 4 months, and it's got such a generic name it took me ages to find again. But this month I refound Barry, and dear God, it is so fucking good. Like, today I just finished season 2. 3 seasons have been made. There's a 4th one coming. And I am honestly on the side of if they can keep up this quality moving forward, this is another Sopranos. It's another Breaking Bad. This is just an absolute fucking masterpiece of television. It's really, really interesting premise as well. So you'll know a lot of the people in it. But it's the idea is there's this guy called Barry who's come back from military service, and as happened with so many people, he could not fit back in with society in any way, shape or form. So an old friend of his father's convinces him to become a hitman, and so you kind of think, well, that's what the show is, and it's not that at all. The actual show is he's got a target, and he goes to follow this guy, and the guy goes into a building, and he's in there for ages and ages and ages. And after a while, it kind of turns to night, and after a while, Barry hears this woman crying near there. So he goes over to kind of check, or just to see what's going on. And it turns out that this is actually an acting class. She's just rehearsing a scene she's about to go in. So he goes in with her. She convinces him to just read a line for her, so for her to bounce off. Yeah. So he goes in and he reads this line, and the people kind of clap for the scene. And it kind of clicks something in his head that you learn. He's shown it so far. You learn it a bit more as it goes on, that at least since he came back, he's not felt anything, and he doesn't have anything. He's essentially like a blank slate. He's just sleepwalking through life. There's nothing to him. And he befriends these actors, and he starts going to the class to try and almost build a personality for himself, because he's literally just numb to everything, and this praise he got there gave him his first feeling since coming back. And it's this incredibly deep and layered thing. All the characters around him are incredibly deep and layered. It's got a comedy element, because the reason he went to LA, where he found the class of the guy he had to kill, is the Chechen mob, and they're run in part by the. Do you remember Zaz in Gotham, and the robot from Bill and Ted Face the Music? So he's in it, and he's playing quite a broad comedy, almost like somewhat like Jim Rash and Community. Like, he's the comedy for everything else to bounce off. But yeah, it deals with his. So obviously he has this hit that leads him to the acting class, and he wants to then not be a hitman anymore, because he wants to do this acting thing, and he wants to be around these people. And he keeps, to one degree or another, keeps getting dragged in a little here and there. And season 1 is an incredibly slow burn, and it has to be, because it's about a character without. It's at least at first. No, it's all the way through. It's about a character without any character, so you need to learn the nuances of what he's doing to understand the character that he isn't, and that is largely shown in the interplays with the people around him, and that, like, the only thing he wants, so few things, and there's always complications with them, and it throws a bunch of curveballs. I'm not going to spoil the end of season 1, because the end of season 1, basically, I was really liking it, and then the end of season 1 ties everything together in this astounding bow, where, like, bringing in things you don't even realize you've absorbed that they've been lacing throughout the whole season. You're just like, oh my god, this is so, the writing and the performances is so incredibly strong. But they've chucked things in there like time skips, so sometimes it will go a little forward in time, and sometimes it will go back in time. But the thing with doing that is that quite often it will then reveal that to be something that Barry is telling someone that isn't actually true, that gives the whole thing this kind of meta unreliability whenever you're kind of watching anything from Barry's perspective, because the guy's acting like he doesn't have a character, so he's a blank slate, so you can't pick up his social cues through that kind of acting, and you know the things he's saying aren't necessarily true. So when he has to act, or when things start changing for him, it gives a real level of unpredictability. And he's, you know, without spoiling too much, he's one of those characters that doesn't want to be the bad guy, and he can't get away from being the bad guy. It's the best way I can put it. It is just one of the best things I've seen in years. The writing and the acting, because it's written by Bill Hader, who you will have seen in a ton of things. Quite funnily enough, I see that name and I immediately think Flint Lockwood from It's Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, one of my favourite animated movies. But yeah, he wrote and stars in it as Barry. It's got Henry Winkler is the acting coach, and he starts off as something of a comedic dickhead, and very, very quickly they start putting a lot of weight on what he needs to do. As I say, it's got Zaz, Anthony Carrigan, who played Zaz. He's a phenomenal character actor. It's got a guy called Stephen Root. Again, you'll recognise him from yeah, you'll recognise him from loads of things. He's a great character actor. It's got it's got tertiary characters. It's got the woman who played Janice in The Good Place.
The Good Life. Yes.
The Good Place.
Yeah.
She's a supporting character in the group and all that. And it's one of those things that while the other members of the acting group aren't necessarily core characters, but they're always there, and they quite often feel like they have something going on outside of the main plot. It's one of the things that I praised, the Batman so much for. It. These other characters who are part of this one person's plot feel like they have their own story outside of it, and Barry does a great job with that. So yeah, if you could, I finished season 2 today. I've got another season to watch. It's only 8 episodes a season, which is a perfect length. I absolutely implore every single one of you, anyone listening to this, go and watch Barry. It's fucking incredible. Absolutely incredible television. So gripping. I finished 2 nights ago. I finished episode 7 of season 2. And I couldn't watch it last night because I had 5 hours of wrestling to watch. And
fit it in? No? Okay.
I couldn't. And I didn't want to get spoilers for the wrestling, so I had to watch it. And I had my Japanese course and stuff, and I've been just thinking about that cliffhanger at the end of the episode for 2 days until I could watch it today. And I'm still just like on the edge of my seat going, I don't know what they're going to do. All the options I can see, I don't want to be what happens, and I don't know what they're going to do. And, it's so rare for television stuff like that to completely, take over my mind like that, to the point that I just have no idea how they're going to move, what they're going to do to move forward with what's going to happen next. It's absolutely fucking wonderful.
You've sold me.
No,
I have heard of this. I've never watched it, but I've only heard good things. Every time Bill Hader appears on any chat show or anything, or even just is mentioned, they always highlight this as a great thing. And I do love Henry Winkler. And when you said he's an acting coach, I could perfectly see him in that role.
Yeah. And at first, he's exactly what you expect before they start dumping a lot of weight on him.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it won't surprise you to know that's an HBO Max show. It's critically acclaimed, of course, but yeah, Barry, it's so fucking good. But what else have we been up to, Dinos? Adam, have you been up to anything?
Not really. Just normal day-to-day life, and running my kids around. And funny enough, I took my kid to his very first football tournament the other day, and I've always had this image in my head of dads and mums getting really over the top on the sidelines. You know what I mean? That classic overbearing parents. And for one of the games, me and my wife turned into those very same parents. Not without good cause. The ref was not to my liking. Probably a polite way of saying it. And some of the rules to the tournament were very, very odd and very, very unfair. But my son's team did well. They got through to their semi-finals, where unfortunately they got knocked out 1-0. But no, they can give themselves a good pat on the back. But yeah, for that last game, me and my wife did turn into the screaming parents on the sidelines.
Oh dear.
Yeah, but I guess it's just it's your kid, isn't it? It's passion.
It's just a game.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
It is. It is
It's
just
a
a
little
game,
social
so.
gathering at the weekend, bit of exercise. That's all it's about. You don't need to get passionate about it. Swearing at some man who's just helping out on a weekend. Jesus Christ. Or woman. I don't know.
No,
yeah.
it wasn't, man. But
kicking
yeah,
balls
no, we was. It was quite ironic because all the way through, you know, we're turning around saying, "You don't listen to them parents screaming and all stuff like that." You know, it'll go on, but don't, you know, ignore it. And then on his final game, it was actually his parents doing it.
Well, I hope he listens to the earlier parents who said don't listen.
Yeah, exactly. But no, other than that, not too much. So I shall pass this on.
Oh. I had the saga of the toilet seat and the ironing board. There's two separate incidents, but they both come down to the same thing of why do things I buy, why are they not the standard size?
Have we discussed? Oh no, we discussed the toilet seat at length when we went on our little holiday. But
We did. The toilet seat is basically that I was lovely gifted a bathroom suite, including toilet, sink and bath, from a friend of my parents who wanted to get rid of the old one. It was absolutely fine, so I took it on. Later, when I just had to get a new toilet seat, which I've done in the past in the previous suite, I'll call it, I just popped down Homebase or something, picked up a toilet seat, put it on. Bosh, 15-minute job. This one took me about the best part of a week and 150 quid to get a new toilet seat. Plus, realising there's no access to my toilet seat, so you have to sort of arrange things in the right order and take bits off of it. It's just a stupid design, and you have to have a very specific toilet seat to get it, which you have to get from one particular manufacturer, and you have to install it a certain way. And if you don't read the instructions before you start, you don't realise that you can lose pieces inside the toilet, and then you have to order more of them, which takes days, and you can't just order that one piece. You've got to order the entire pack again, and it's
oh my god,
pain in the arse. And then I had this very similar thing, although not quite as in-depth with the ironing board, where I thought, my old ironing board cover is a bit of a state. I'm going to take that off and get a new one. And I bought one and, you know, just sort of got around it without putting it on properly for a couple of days. Then went to put it on and realised, oh no, it's the wrong size. I only picked up a basic ironing board a few years ago, well, wherever it was. Why is it now that my ironing board cover, which should be a standard size, surely, I didn't buy exotic king-size ironing board, doesn't fit. So then I had to go measuring it and finding out and all this stuff, which obviously, people have harder lives than me. I'm not saying this was a big problem, but it's just one of those things of, sure, I just want to iron my work shirt. I don't want to spend a long time buying the wrong size ironing board cover.
Do you know what? If I'd have done what you did, so what, you spent £3 on an ironing board cover? How much did you spend on that?
It was £4 for the first for the wrong size one. So that was on there for a couple of days with some books weighing it down so it fit.
Yeah.
Okay,
do you know what I would have done? I would have got the first one out. I'd have held it up.
Yeah.
I would have screamed through the ironing board and gone to Tesco and bought a whole new fucking ironing board. I'd have just not had time for that bollocks. I would have ranted and raved for like 20 minutes about how it's unfair. Why the fuck would ironing boards be different sizes? And I'd just gone to Tesco and I'd probably have stormed from, I know where your house is, I'd have stormed there under my own power, probably fire behind me, grabbed an ironing board and stormed the fucker back home, and thrown the old one up the garden. In a rage.
The main reason I didn't do that is because, and I've got this from unpacking. Well, going back to unpacking, you can't dispose of things in unpacking. You have to put things places. You can't throw things away. The game from earlier.
Yes.
Similar to this, I know if I went down Tesco, spent 20 quid on an ironing board, which comes with a free cover that fits it perfectly.
Yeah.
I would have then had an old ironing board that I would never throw away.
That is the garden's problem now. You find it in 3 years when you've mowed your lawn.
Where do you think my old toilet is?
I know where your old toilet is.
It's now a lovely plant pot in the garden because I see. Yeah, I don't like waste. I don't like throwing things away. I also don't like doing anything, and that includes putting stuff in the car and driving to the dump.
Well, it'll be full of fertiliser, won't it? So it's good plant pot.
Believe it or not, I cleaned it out first. I put some effort. I have some standards, I'll have you know. I think I was shouting at kids on my weekend. Or refs.
Oh, don't. Embarrassing.
But that, yeah, those. So, and just going on YouTube trying to find the right video to fix little, because that's how we do things now. Is I need to know how to do this task. I'll go on YouTube. There'll be someone on there who says, "Here's how to do it." Not a single freaking video had my model of toilet. So they're showing me, and it gets to a certain point, and it goes, "Mine doesn't do that. I can't."
There's an
do
opening,
that.
Jason. There's an opening. Make a video on it.
Oh, so annoying. Well, that's just true. Everyone who's got my model will cling on to it. Yeah, I'll stay tuned for the Iron Dinos maintenance of toilet facilities. Every
That one
Monday
random
afternoon.
video is the thing that gets us monetized. It gets us 1,000 subscribers, 1 million views. It's the one video doing a toilet, the rest is just video game shit.
Oh, yeah, I'll do that then. Perfect. Have you been up to anything else, Shaun, in your escapades?
Well, similarly to you, actually. Right, so, you may not like to hear this, but when we were driving to the Lake District, and we were fucking
Yeah.
about in all those hills with all the sudden stops and stuff, I realised that my brakes weren't quite right. But we did it, we're fine, we got back. So,
I was gripping on very tightly.
God, that was a nightmare. But, yeah, so I took the wheel off my car and had a look at the brake pads, and they were pretty darn worn. So I've replaced those. Basically, there's like a groove down the middle of your brake pads, the front brake pads, and when that's gone, it's kind of urgent, and you could see the remnant that a line once existed, but yeah, it's not ideal. But I know fuck all about cars. I had that MOT'd at the end of last year. I assumed that would be something that would be checked, but apparently it isn't. Anyway, so I did that. I've got to do my rear brakes. They're down enough, but I did the last one with last month's payday, and do these one this month's. I can fit them myself, so that's immediately saved me like 60 quid, and I get them from a wholesaler through work. None of this is interesting. I didn't even plan to talk about that. I went back to the gym this month, which is very, very nice, but more importantly, I have got to see my friends, some of whom I have not seen for years because of COVID and lockdown and pandemics and my move and everything. So, yeah, 2 Saturdays ago, I went to the beer festival in Bury, which was lovely. Yep. I spent several hours drinking with my friends, having a lovely time, and dear God, just in the unlikely event that anyone organising the Bury St Edmunds Beer Festival's listening to this, don't book that fucking music again. They were awful.
Aww.
Like most of the not
I don't
most
know.
of the
I wasn't
day
there.
this pair were on, and they were so like they couldn't hit anything in tune. All of their timing was off, like everything was slow, and it wasn't just where we were sitting in relation to them, because we went over to give them a chance, like not to have a dance or anything, but we intentionally kind of walked past slowly to actually have a listen to it. Fuck, they were terrible. But we survived that, and then this weekend I had a barbecue where I got to see other friends. I got to see Shaun and MJ, who I've not seen or interacted with socially in years, which was absolutely lovely. So, yeah.
You were at that barbecue. I was at that barbecue, but clearly much later than you when you were there.
Yeah, I assumed
dark,
you were
so you might have
intentionally
been there.
avoiding me, because I left at 10 and you still hadn't rocked up.
I got lost in a cemetery. But anyway.
I used to live right outside. I know where you are. I used to live right by that cemetery.
Yeah, I thought that so like a pigeon or a crow, I knew roughly where it was from where I started, but I didn't know exactly how to get there, so I thought I'll walk in this direction and there'll be a side road which leads me to it. And then after going past a few, I think I can cut through the cemetery. And then you can cut through the cemetery. It doesn't come out anywhere near I needed to be. I've pretty much gone round to the other side of town.
That's the start of a horror movie.
I walked in when it was about very, very late to that barbecue. But it was very fun. But I couldn't see anyone because it's so dark at that point. So you could have been there for all I know. We'll see.
I probably would have said hi.
Good fun time. You probably would have said hi, but I don't know. You could be a bit of a mean bastard sometimes.
That is everything I've been up to. So unless there's any further business, gentlemen,
No, we
No, sir.
just need the words.
Yes, we'll draw this Dinocast to a close. So, I feel the best word we can have to be the positive word that you definitely should put to prove that you've been listening to it is welcome back, Jason. Because he died last month, but he's been resurrected, and now he's here. And it's been lovely to have him back. And
I've got a perfect false one.
I have risen.
Jason's toilet behaviour.
This is very Jason focused.
there we go. You have your two phrases. One is true. One is a lie. Yeah. Like, comment, subscribe, tweet us that phrase, everything like that, all that good stuff. Bye. Bit anticlimactic, but it is what it is. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.